and LGBTQIA communities, they can say, call me this. Don't
Mm-hmm.
misgender me. This is my new name and all that. And if we say something different, we're demonized for it. Like, how dare you call her that? She's not a man, she's a woman kind of thing. Cool. But also call me what I want to be called.
Right.
I don't want to be called cisgender. I want to be called a woman because all that extra stuff, it's not necessary. I was
I see
born.
both sides of that argument.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was don't call because if you call me cisgender and I say don't call me that and they say well that's what you are, then if I haul off and call you by the name you was born with, then you
Right.
gonna fight me. So like
I
just
do
don't
feel
say
like it's a
what
mutual
you are.
respect thing, but at the same time, D, not to call your card, but I say this every time. Why is it an issue? What is the issue of cisgender? I don't mind being called cisgender. I mean, I am cisgender. Like,
Yeah,
I would like to
I
be able to be
feel like
known.
I just feel like we're already women.
Oh yeah,
The different thing is the transgender person. They had to be labeled
right,
something different because they're transitioning.
right.
So if you're already being called something different, why do I now also have to be called something different? Because you already know me as man, you already know me as
Yeah,
woman. The different thing is now you
yeah.
becoming trans man, trans woman. That's good enough. Why now are you having to call us even if I
I
like
mean,
I
I guess that's the issue because that's not good enough for them. They don't want
yeah,
to be
no,
called
I
trans
don't.
anything. I think it's more of a equity issue. If we just call everybody just the simple without the front and the back, we could just.
So they don't like to be called trans. Is that what it is?
No, they don't like
Uh,
to be called trans.
oh, I didn't know that.
No,
Why?
they just want to be called a man. They just want to be called a woman.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
I didn't know that. So that's the thing, though. That's the thing. Still, because it's like, all right, we're here, right? We're born into the world as woman, man, whatever,
yeah,
and then you want to transition.
right.
You now become trans man, trans woman. So instead of you being okay with being called trans man, trans woman, you want me to be okay with being called cis man, cis woman. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
well, they did just ask to just be called women and men. They did
But
just
see, that
ask to be just
that's the
called that.
thing. See, and I guess this could be where we disagree, or could be where I disagree with
Yeah,
other people. I don't know. There needs to be a differentiation.
I
Maybe
agree with that.
maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but there needs to be a differentiation.
I
And
agree.
if you don't want to be called trans man or trans woman, what's the differentiation? You now want to make the differentiation calling me cis when I was I'm already what I am. You are the one who transitioned. Just because you don't want to be called trans woman, trans man, that doesn't have anything to do with me. Cause it's
Yeah,
like it's kind of like okay, you don't want to be called trans, you just want to be called woman. I just want to be called woman too.
I feel like
That's
that's
what
a
I
fair
am.
compromise, though. I don't know. I feel like what you're saying is fair, but I also feel like I see both sides. Personally, and this is how I look at it now, right? If
Mm-hmm.
everybody's gonna have to do a new name switch and shit, I would prefer you know what I am when I go to the doctor's office.
Yeah.
If they gotta start throwing cis on the front of it just so you know that my parts came directly from the maker, that's cool with me. You know what I mean? I would like you not to be confusing me when we are in a hospital room, sure. But
But
like other than that, I don't even feel like we need to say it. I don't feel like
and
I
that
think I think we waste a lot of time with the labeling thing. If we just say, "Hi, my name is Cheryl. Hi, my name is Michael. Hi, my name is Tamika." I don't give a fuck what you got going on down there.
see that's where the problem comes in because me
Yeah,
as a friend being introduced to you, it's not a problem for me because I'm
yeah,
only going to have a very specific relationship with you.
right.
And well, maybe I'm just talking trans women. Let's stick. I'm gonna stick with trans women. I'm gonna have a very specific relationship with you, and that's gonna be a friendship. So it wouldn't
Yeah,
really matter whether or not you transition or what you were born
right.
as, but to a person who's dating you, and you not
Hmm.
wanting to give them the option to know
Yeah,
what you were born as, that's where the problem comes in. Because it's like, oh no, I just want to be called a woman. But what about
yeah,
this man who does not have an interest in dating a fully transitioned,
Yeah.
Woman, um,
Well, that's
bottom dressing and
dishonesty, but
all.
that's a whole nother issue though, because
That's what I'm
even
saying.
with that, you can still say without calling yourself a trans person, you can say I transitioned without saying I'm a trans such
I
and
mean,
such. You could just
it's still
because it needs to be more than just a title at that point. It needs to be a whole
it's
conversation
to
anyway.
me, it's still extra wording. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
you. I mean, obviously, if you meet a man, you're not walking up saying I'm a woman, right? You're not doing that. You're meeting him. Y'all having conversation. Y'all having conversation. During the conversation, you say, "Hey, I transitioned. I just want to let you know." That's more words
Yeah.
saying I'm a trans woman.
I feel like it
So
deserves more words. I don't know. Give me more words. Give me
I don't
more
know. I
words.
feel like, because
I
for
need a
instance,
full sentence.
I saw a video of this.
I don't need a full sentence, but motherfuckers need full sentences. I feel like.
I saw a video of a woman walking down the street in New York, trans woman. She got her camera out on TikTok. She on TikTok live or something. She walking, going about her business. These dudes stop her. Hey, shorty, what's up? Kind of thing. She turned around. I'm a trans woman. And they said, oh shit. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
And she went on about her
that's
business.
pretty
So I feel
fast.
like
Yeah,
that's a much easier process than meeting
yeah,
someone, them thinking you're a woman, going into the whole thing. Let's go out to eat, have a
yeah.
date. We get to the date. Oh, let me let you know I transitioned.
In that setting, yes, but I feel like if you're just walking through the regular old mall situation, I don't need to know that. Like certain things for certain settings, yes, but I feel like when you gotta always throw that label on somebody, always throw that label on somebody, that's that's where it's like, why? Why can't I just live and exist? And I think that is an experience that they don't get to have very often.
Yeah, they don't, and I must say, I just disagree. I feel like that's something, and I feel like it kind of comes with the territory, and it's different for all.
That's fair though.
It's different for all of them. Some of them don't want to be called trans women.
Yeah.
Some of them have no problem with it. Some of them say, yes, I absolutely am a trans woman. Let me let you know that ahead of time. But I feel like that's something that needs to be known immediately by a person that you're trying to pursue.
Yeah, I think
Because
so too,
then
if you're trying to pursue somebody,
yeah,
but
because then it becomes
in other senses, yeah. But
something else
also
later on if you don't just, it's
from a
weird.
very super from a very superficial standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
it be the ones um that don't go out of their way to look like women that upset me. The it's typically a white man. I'm just gonna or a white woman who is transitioning, a white man who has decided that he was gonna put on women's clothes and do
Yeah,
nothing else at all except for that and say you're gonna call me miss.
right.
I have an issue with that. I feel like the
Yeah.
people who have really gone through, and this is another thing I feel about I have an opinion about gender affirming care, and it
Mm-hmm.
is that people have this opinion about gender affirming care as if it's only just getting paid for the surgery, when in reality, a lot of people who get gender affirming care are also getting years worth of therapy
Right. They
before
all.
they make the decision to
Yeah.
transition. So I think that's something that needs to be discussed more. It's not just a, oh, you can just hurry up and get the surgery. It's not how that works.
Right.
And I don't know. I've never called myself an ally because it requires entirely too much work on my
Yeah.
part. But I believe in, live and let people live. Because
Yeah. I
they're gonna have to
absolutely.
meet their maker one day anyway. Everybody has to answer to somebody higher power at the end. So
I would have to agree with you on that part. I absolutely believe the same thing. I just want you not to also impede on my freedoms while you're living yours.
I agree with that.
That's all.
That's a fair thing to feel.
Right.
I think that's a fair feeling to have.
And then don't get mad at me or
Yeah.
want to fight me or whatever the case. If I say, okay, thank you for telling me that's not my thing. Like, don't get mad at me for that. Like,
Yeah, now
I
that's
have the right.
outrageous. I do
I
agree.
have a
That's
right to
outrageous.
choose, just like you had your right to transition. Like, I don't understand the anger around that. Like, I understand it, but it's not fair for you to be angry at me for making a choice because you made one. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.